If you're like the average homeowner, you probably have a drawer full of knives. If I were to place a bet, I would say that 90% of them are dull. Get rid of those dull knives or sharpen them. This is going to be a short and quick video on how to sharpen a knife. That's almost like an oxymoron. I mean, it's almost impossible to have a short video on how to sharpen a knife. Have you gone on YouTube and seen what's out there? The bottom line is this: if you're an average homeowner, you probably have a bunch of dull knives in a drawer. You wind up buying a brand new one because the other ones are dull, you don't know how to sharpen them, or you buy one of these gadgets at a fair or in the mall and all of a sudden you come home and you realize it doesn't work and you wind up ruining your knives. As a professional restaurateur, I have the same problem. It's very difficult to teach everyone to sharpen knives consistently. I have a seasonal business. A ton of people that come through in the summer, they're gone in the winter. By the time the season is over, it's almost impossible to teach everybody how to sharpen a knife. So I wind up buying inexpensive knives because they get destroyed. Now, there are 100,000 videos out there on how to sharpen knives. Chances are they're too complicated or too expensive. You just want to have a sharp knife in your kitchen. A sharp knife works far better than a dull knife. If you don't have a sharp knife, what do you wind up doing? You wind up buying another knife because you don't know how to sharpen the old one. So I'm going to show you how to sharpen your knives fast and effectively, the way I do it as a professional in my restaurant. But first, let me start by saying not all knives are created equal. In my opinion, the best quality knife that you can purchase is a Japanese knife. And the reason is because the steel is extremely superior. The problem with a Japanese knife is that it's very expensive and you just don't buy the knife and go. You have to buy very expensive sharpening stones. You also have to purchase a very expensive cutting board. And the rule of thumb is with every cut that you take with the knife, you have to lap it once on a stone. I'm a bit selective about my knives. I still haven't found the knife that I feel is perfect for me. So I actually went out of my way and made my own. I got my hands on some really amazing steel, two types. It's Hitachi and then Sandvik 12C27. I like a really thick knife up top, and I had it water jetted out, and now I have to grind them down and put handles on them. So you're probably not gonna see me use one of these every day in my restaurant. I'm gonna have to baby it and worry about someone else dropping it or using it to open up a can. Ugh. I'm going to show you a really cheap knife that I use in my restaurant, and I use it all the time. I actually use it at home. It's a Dexter Russell knife. It holds an edge really well, and then after about a year or a year and a half, I just toss it. You will probably have this in your kitchen for a decade if you don't use it regularly. I struggled for a long time to find a good way to sharpen a knife. My favorite way, which I don't use in the restaurant, involves a water stone. This little gadget here will probably set you back about $1,000 with all the attachments, but it's the best way to make a knife extremely razor sharp. I use this to sharpen all of my tools. I don't expect you to buy one of these, so I'm going to give you a much cheaper and easier solution. There's two steps to sharpening a knife. There's sharpening and then there's honing. This little gadget is a 1/2-inch belt sander that's already angled for the average knife. It's about $70 on Amazon. I love it. I have one home, I have one in the restaurant. Really, really easy to use. Up against the plastic. As long as you keep the edge pressed up against there, it'll sharpen properly. Then you do the other side. And really, it's based on how dull your knife is. If your knife is really dull, you'll probably have to take about 6 or 7 passes. Usually when the knife isn't dull, you can get away with 2 or 3. This is just about there. I'm gonna do one more on each side. Now that knife has a rough edge on it because it's been sharpened. What we want to do is hone it. It is really, really sharp right now with just 2 passes. This is my absolute favorite honing tool. It's by a company called Razor's Edge. It's called the Mousetrap, the Mini. These stainless steel arms, they make the knife go into position. So if there's any wavering in the edge, it will straighten it out. Very simple. Just drop the knife down and just pull it back. I don't know if you could hear that, but it sounds almost like sandpaper, because the knife edge is still rough from the sanding, from the sand belt, from the sharpening. And as you pull it through, it gets less and less abrasive. and then it's done. You don't hear it anymore. Every single time you're gonna be cutting something and you want a sharp knife, you just pass it through once or twice like that. This sharpener here, you're only gonna use that when this doesn't do it any longer. So really it's more like this gets used 10% of the time, this gets used 90% of the time. But this knife has become so sharp, then you can actually shave hair with it. Look at that, my hair is like falling out. Yeah. So it's super, super sharp. $20 knife. This is a little pricey, but it's worth it. You'll have it for your whole life. This thing's about 70 or 80 bucks. And then you buy a work sharp, you have that in your kitchen, and you can sharpen 90% of your knives.